Have you ever wondered why so many people never make it to 85, even if they don't seem seriously ill? It's not always about genetics or accidents. In fact, what often makes the difference are subtle mistakes, the kind that quietly wear down the body year after year. If you're in your 60s, 70s, or even your early 80s, you may have started asking yourself questions like, am I doing something wrong? Or, what can I change to live longer and healthier? You're not alone. The truth is, most seniors are not dying early from one big event. They're dying from a slow erosion, a pattern of habits and blind spots that go unnoticed until it's too late. In this video, we're going to walk through 7 of the most hidden but impactful mistakes that are quietly preventing older adults from reaching 85. These are not the obvious ones like smoking or poor diet. These are the ones no one talks about at the doctor's office. The psychological, emotional, and lifestyle patterns that drain your life force without you realizing it. And as always, this video is not just about warning signs, it's also about empowerment. Each point we share will include a clear explanation, psychological insight, and a small but powerful shift you can start making today. It's never too late to change the direction you're headed. If you're ready, let's begin with the first hidden mistake that may be taking years off your life without you noticing. Mistake 1. Emotional isolation that feels normal. One of the most overlooked dangers after 60 isn't physical, it's emotional. Many older adults slowly begin to pull away from others, and not because they want to. It starts small. Maybe a neighbor moves, a friend stops calling, or family visits on holidays. Over time, you begin to adjust to the quiet. You convince yourself, I'm fine on my own, even if deep down you miss the sound of someone calling your name or the feeling of being needed. The problem is, this type of emotional isolation doesn't come with alarms. It doesn't hurt like a broken bone, but its impact is just as real, and often more dangerous. Psychologists have long warned about what loneliness does to the brain. When the brain lacks emotional stimulation from meaningful connection, it slowly loses sharpness. It's no surprise that older adults who feel isolated are at a much higher risk of depression, memory decline, and even heart disease. The body responds to emotional disconnection the same way it responds to physical pain, with stress hormones, inflammation, and a drop in immune strength. But the scariest part is this. People who are isolated often stop reaching out. They convince themselves they're a burden or they fear rejection. So they stay silent, even when they're hurting. I knew a man named Alan, 78 years old, who once had a full house. Kids, grandkids, neighbors, always around. But after a few years of loss and changes, he stopped picking up the phone. He didn't want to bother anyone. When I finally visited him, his fridge was nearly empty, his TV was always on, and he said, I guess this is just how it ends. That wasn't depression talking. That was resignation. The kind that creeps in slowly when you feel forgotten. But here's the truth. Isolation doesn't have to be permanent. The moment you reach out, a phone call, a card, a walk with someone, your body starts healing. Connection is medicine. And more importantly, staying emotionally connected is one of the strongest predictors of living beyond 85. Not because of the number of friends you have, but because of the quality of your bonds. And for those watching this who live alone or have lost people, I want to remind you that it's never too late to rebuild community. Churches, local groups, even online forums can be a lifeline. What matters is not the medium, but the effort. A small step toward someone else is often the biggest step towards your own health. Mistake 2. Ignoring subtle signs of inflammation. Inflammation is the slow, silent thief of longevity, and most people over 60 don't even realize it's happening. You might think you're just feeling a little stiff in the morning, or that your digestive system isn't what it used to be. But these aren't just quirks of aging. They're warning signs. Low-grade chronic inflammation is one of the leading causes of age-related diseases, from heart attacks to dementia. And it doesn't come with loud symptoms. It creeps in day by day, meal by meal, habit by habit. The problem is that most seniors mistake inflammation for something else. That extra fatigue, maybe it's just a bad night's sleep. That puffiness in your fingers or ankles, just aging, right? That sluggish, foggy feeling that makes it hard to focus. Probably nothing, but these are red flags. When your immune system is constantly on high alert, it begins to damage your own tissues, your joints, your arteries, your brain. This internal fire ages your body faster than time itself. A woman I met, named Susan, 72, used to describe her mornings like this: "I feel like I'm waking up underwater." Her face looked tired, her hands swollen, and she thought it was just what happened in your 70s. But after she cut out a few foods that were secretly triggering inflammation, sugary snacks, processed deli meats, and those flavored coffee creamers she loved, she began to feel clearer, lighter, even younger. Her energy returned, her joints hurt less, and for the first time in years, she said, "I feel like myself again." What causes this kind of inflammation? It's not just junk food, it's also chronic stress, poor sleep, lack of movement, and even unresolved emotional pain. Your body stores more than just calories. It stores experiences. And if you're carrying the weight of years of tension, grief, or anxiety, your body keeps score. That's why managing inflammation is not just about eating a salad now and then. It's about living in a way that soothes your system physically and emotionally. Thankfully, there are powerful ways to cool this hidden fire. Start with anti-inflammatory foods like leafy greens, berries, turmeric, olive oil, and fatty fish. Even short, gentle walks, 15 minutes a day, reduce inflammatory markers in the blood. And don't underestimate the power of deep breathing or time in nature. The body wants to heal. It just needs your cooperation. The people who live past 85 don't ignore their body's whispers. They listen early and they respond with care. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Mistake 3. Thinking loneliness is harmless. Many older adults underestimate the cost of being lonely. They might say, "I'm fine on my own," or "I'm used to it," brushing it off like it's no big deal. But behind that quiet independence, something deeper starts to take hold. Loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's a physical and emotional strain on your body. Studies now show it can be just as dangerous as smoking, high blood pressure, or even obesity when it comes to shortening your life. What's especially harmful is how sneaky it is. Loneliness doesn't always look like sadness. It can look like watching TV all day just to fill the silence. It can feel like being around people, but not feeling connected to any of them. And over time, it chips away at your mental sharpness, your emotional resilience, and your immune system. When you go too long without meaningful connection, your body starts to operate in a low state of stress. And that wears you down in ways most people don't notice until it's too late. Take Harold, a 79-year-old man I met at a senior center. He'd been living alone for years after his wife passed. He wasn't depressed, at least not outwardly. He'd say he enjoyed his solitude, kept up with the news, did puzzles. But his blood pressure had been climbing. He caught colds often, and he seemed to have lost his spark. After joining a small walking group and attending a weekly music hour, things started to change. His doctor noticed his vitals improving. Harold said, "I forgot what it felt like to laugh with someone." That's the part most people miss. It's not about having a crowd around you. It's about being seen, being heard, being valued. The people who make it to 90 or beyond often have strong relationships, not necessarily many, but deep. Even just one trusted person who knows your story and shares their own makes a difference. It keeps your spirit alive, and that directly supports your health. So if you've been telling yourself that loneliness is just part of aging, think again. Make a phone call, send a letter, join something small, a group, a class, a church gathering, even an online forum. You're not a burden. You're a person with wisdom, humor, and kindness to offer, and you deserve that connection just as much as anyone else. Aging well isn't only about diet or exercise. It's also about not letting yourself disappear from the world. Mistake 4. Neglecting sleep. As you age, sleep might seem like a luxury in your younger years, but in your 70s and beyond, it becomes a lifeline. Yet far too many older adults think it's normal to get by on 4 or 5 hours a night. They shrug it off with, "I'm just not tired anymore," or "That's just how it is at my age." But that's not aging. That's a warning sign. Poor sleep isn't just about being tired. It's tied to heart problems, memory loss, high blood sugar, mood swings, and even falls. One of the sneakiest things about poor sleep in older adults is how easily it becomes the norm. You wake up at 3 a.m. and think, "Well, this is just my body now." But the truth is, our sleep patterns change with age, and without adjustments like managing light exposure, meal timing, and stress before bed, you can easily fall into a pattern of chronic sleep deprivation without even knowing it. I knew a woman named Grace, 81, who used to nap during the day and stay up past midnight watching television. She thought it helped her feel less lonely at night, but she was forgetful, had dizzy spells, and her blood pressure was erratic. Her doctor suggested adjusting her routine. No caffeine after 2 p.m., lights dimmed at 8, and gentle stretching before bed. It took a few weeks, but she started sleeping through the night. She said, "It felt like I got my brain back." This is what many older adults miss. Good sleep doesn't just rest your body. It restores your organs, balances your hormones, and sharpens your mind. And it's not about sleeping more, but sleeping better. That means creating a calm bedtime ritual, avoiding screens late at night, and maybe even talking to a doctor if snoring or leg movements are keeping you up. Sleep is medicine, free, powerful, and absolutely essential. So if you've brushed off your sleep issues, please reconsider. Poor sleep has a quiet way of shaving years off your life by weakening the system that keep you going. You deserve rest that leaves you feeling alert, present, and alive. Make sleep a priority, not an afterthought. That small change could be the difference between aging and thriving. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Mistake 5. Ignoring emotional loneliness. You can be surrounded by people and still feel alone. And that silent kind of loneliness, the one that doesn't show up in phone calls or social calendars, is one of the most dangerous for seniors. It eats away at your energy, your mood, your motivation, and over time, it wears down your immune system, shortens your lifespan, and even mimics signs of dementia. What many people don't realize is that emotional loneliness is different from being physically alone. You might have a spouse, children, or neighbors nearby, but if you feel unseen, unheard, or like you're just there instead of being part of something meaningful, that's emotional isolation. And it's one of the hidden killers of our time, especially for people over 70. Take Harold, 77, who lived in a retirement community full of people but rarely joined in. He'd say hello, exchange a few pleasantries, then retreat to his apartment to watch TV alone. He told himself he preferred peace, but deep down he missed being needed, being asked for advice, being someone's go-to. When his granddaughter started calling weekly to ask for stories about how things used to be, something shifted. He lit up. He was being seen again. It wasn't about being busy. It was about being valued. As we get older, we often stop initiating connection. We tell ourselves we don't want to bother anyone or that young people are too busy. But connection doesn't always come to you. Sometimes you have to create it. And it doesn't take much. A phone call, a hobby club, a walk with a neighbor, even volunteering at a local library or shelter. What matters is feeling like your presence matters. Loneliness can feel like a quiet ache in your chest, a heaviness in your mornings, a reason not to get dressed or go out. But that's not how life is supposed to end. Emotional connection is fuel. It keeps your spirit alive. It gives meaning to the days. And no matter how old you are, you still have something to offer, something to receive. If you've been feeling emotionally adrift, this might be your sign to reach out, to allow others in, to remind yourself and the world that your heart still beats for a reason. Mistake 6. Not managing hidden inflammation. Some seniors think pain and swelling are just a normal part of aging, something they have to live with. But here's the truth. Behind many of those normal aches, stiffness, or sudden health dips is silent inflammation. And if you don't get it under control, it quietly damages your heart, brain, joints, and even your mood. Inflammation doesn't always show up as a swollen joint or red patch. Sometimes it's that brain fog that just won't lift, that fatigue that no nap can fix, or those random flare-ups of discomfort you chalk up to age. And because it's not loud or dramatic at first, it often gets ignored until it leads to something serious, like heart disease, diabetes, or memory decline. Take 69-year-old Eleanor. She was always tired, a little cranky, and had nagging back pain that wouldn't go away. She figured it was just part of getting old. But when her doctor finally ran a few blood tests, they found markers of chronic inflammation. Once she changed her morning habits, more leafy greens, less sugar, a short daily walk, and cutting out the processed snacks, she felt 10 years younger in just a few months. One of the biggest culprits of inflammation is poor diet. Packaged snacks, sugary drinks, fried foods, these feed the fire inside your body. Add poor sleep, lack of movement, or unprocessed stress on top, and that fire keeps growing. And once your body is in constant alert mode, healing slows, disease risk goes up, and energy drops. The good news? It's not about doing anything extreme. Even small changes, drinking more water, eating berries, getting sunlight in the morning, and cutting out one inflammatory food a day can turn the tide. Your body wants to heal. You just have to give it the right conditions. And here's something else. Reducing inflammation doesn't just add years to your life. It adds life to your years. You think clearer, you move freer, you feel more like yourself again. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Mistake 7, losing the will to adapt. There's a quiet trap that catches many older folks, the belief that after a certain age, change no longer matters, that routines should stay fixed, that new ideas are for younger people, and that learning is behind them. But here's the hard truth. The moment we stop adapting, we start declining. Our brains, muscles, relationships, they all thrive on newness, new challenges, new habits, new ways of thinking. When we stop engaging with life, even in small ways, everything starts to shrink. Our memory, our flexibility, our social circle, our confidence. We don't just grow older, we grow narrower. Take 82-year-old Carl. He was a retired plumber, widowed, and mostly stayed home watching TV. But when his granddaughter introduced him to basic yoga and later helped him learn how to video call his old army buddies, something shifted. His posture improved, his mood lifted, he even started cooking again. All because he said yes to something new, even if it was uncomfortable at first. The people who live long and live well into their 90s and beyond, most of them didn't do it by avoiding change. They did it by welcoming it. They found new things to care about. They adjusted when their bodies couldn't do what they used to. They stayed curious about people, ideas, and even technology. And here's the thing. Adapting doesn't mean losing who you are. It means preserving who you are by staying engaged with the world around you. Whether that's learning to use a smartphone, joining a walking group, changing your diet, or finally writing that story you've carried for years. You don't need to do everything, but you do need to keep doing something that moves you forward. Because the strongest predictor of long life isn't perfect genes or clean eating. It's staying mentally, emotionally, and socially active. It's being willing to grow, even when the world tells you you've done enough. And if nobody's told you this lately, it's never too late to start again. Final thoughts. Growing older doesn't mean growing weaker. It doesn't mean fading into the background. But if we're not paying attention, if we don't actively protect what matters, our health, our habits, our hope, then we might quietly give up years we could have had. What we talked about today isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to empower you, to show you that many of the reasons people don't make it to 85 aren't carved in stone. They're habits we can shift, beliefs we can challenge, and choices we can change. Even small changes can make a big difference when they're done with intention. So now I'd like to ask you, which of these 7 mistakes hit home the most for you? And more importantly, which one do you feel ready to address starting today? You're not alone in this. We're all walking this road together. And the more we learn, the stronger we get. Let this be your reminder. It's not too late. You're not too old. And your future is still worth protecting. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.